Islanders here. Today's podcast, including some respect from the national media for the Islanders, but even then, it's tinged with a little bit of an issue, and we'll talk about that, plus some standouts from the blue versus white scrimmage for the players that didn't play in the exhibition game against Philadelphia. That, our Islanders' birthday of the day, and a lot more coming up on the Locked On Islanders podcast.
Your Locked On Islanders, your daily podcast on the New York Islanders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Thursday edition of the Locked On Islanders podcast. Hard to believe we're at September 30th already. Where did this month go? It feels like it just started, and here we are at the end of the month. But you know what the good news is about that? October is tomorrow, and that's when the hockey season, the regular season, actually gets underway. So lots more to look forward to for Islander fans as we get closer and closer to the start of a new hockey season. We've got a lot to discuss on today's show. We will be looking at some of the players who stood out in the blue versus white scrimmage. Those were the players who were not playing in the preseason game on Tuesday against Philadelphia, and we'll talk about the line combinations, some of the players who stood out in that game. We've got a little respect from the national media, which is rare for the Islanders, but growing. But again, as is always the case, it comes with a little bit of a caveat, and we'll talk about that. We've got our Islanders' birthday of the day, a steady performer who was popular among both fans and teammates alike, and a whole lot more coming up on today's show. If there's something Islanders related on your mind, if you have a question, a comment, a topic that you'd like us to discuss, feel free to send us an email. The email address, lockedonislanders@gmail.com. And if you leave your first name and where you're from, we're happy to mention you on the show when we talk about whatever it is that's on your mind. You could also follow the show on Twitter at LockedOnIsles. And you could follow me, Gil Martin, on Twitter at Ice Wars, NYRVSNYI. And we'll keep you up to date on all the latest Islanders news, notes, and happenings, rumors, preseason action, training camp news, everything leading up to the start of the season, which, believe it or not, is now just about 2 weeks away. And I want to thank you for being part of the Locked On Islanders family and for making Locked On Islanders your first listen of the day. It's always greatly appreciated. So let's start off with the blue and white scrimmage. And, you know, that was held Tuesday during the day in lieu of practice. And it was basically held at the Islanders practice facility. Game jerseys, blue team, white team. Ilya Sorokin and John Gillies rotated between blue and white while Jakub Skarek played for the white team. Blue team ends up winning this one by a score of 5-2. And, you know, Zach Parise got the first goal for the blue team. Brock Nelson evened it up for the white team. Again, you know, you see a lot of these players getting a chance to shine. And here are some of the lineup combinations, because I think, you know, I could sit here and run down the goals, but that, you know, that's something that you could easily, you know, just look up. But to me, the important thing is trying to get inside the head of Barry Trotz. So what did we see? Well, you had Matthew Barzal on the ice along with Uncle Leo, which is deja vu all over again for those of us who watched the playoffs and the late season after Anders Lee got injured, along with Kyle McLaren, who is an undrafted player in training camp. So McLaren getting a chance to McLean getting a chance to show his stuff alongside Matthew Barzal, a great opportunity. And Uncle Leo, someone familiar with playing with Barzal for the last 20, 30 games. And let's face it, Uncle Leo, because of his high salary And because of the depth that the Islanders have at forward, he's likely to start the season as a black ace. Maybe he starts on the fourth line if Matt Martin isn't ready to start the regular season on time. That's another possibility. But again, these are things that, Uncle Leo is playing for a job here. And it's important for him to show what he can do, even though obviously Barry Trott's very familiar and a fan of Leo Komarov. Another line, J.G. Pageau alongside Zach Parise and Simon Holmstrom. Now, Holmstrom, again, he's a first-round pick from 2019, getting a chance to show what he can do. And to me, the more meaningful thing, Pageau and Parise, Barry Trotz, we talked about this. Pageau and Parise going to be almost certainly a combination on that third line. And then it becomes a question of whether you have Oliver Wahlstrom, who I think is the favorite to start the season on the wing opposite Pageau and Parise, or Kyle Palmieri. So the fact that Pageau and Parise are together, to me, speaks volumes there. Those were blue team line combinations. For the white team, you had Brock Nelson and Josh Bailey, 2/3 of the B&B line, and joining them was Arno Durando, who was a 6th-round pick from 2017. Reese Newkirk, a 5th-rounder from 2019, was with Cizikas and Clutterbuck. Again, Matt Martin not really seeming to be ready to participate. But again, what you're seeing here in all of these combinations is Barry Trotz taking 2 players who are veterans, who are familiar with each other, who know this very well, and then teaming them up with one younger player who has to try to fit in and show the coaching staff what they can do. So I overall that worked. Meanwhile, defensively, Ryan Pulak was out there with Eric Gustafsson, and Zdeno Chara was with Mitchell Van Sample. So those are 2 of the duos they had out there. Again, players who were not playing in the game. I am really keeping a big eye on Gustafsson. I really think that he's on a PTO, which is a tryout kind of an arrangement. I think Gustafsson is going to get an offer from the Islanders. Whether or not he takes it remains to be seen. He's got to earn it. But you see Barry Trotz going out of his way to praise him. And I think, again, the thinking here is twofold. Number one, we know Trotz and Lamoriello prefer veterans to younger players. And number 2 is that sort of in tandem with that, or as an extension of preferring the veterans, you don't hurt an Eric Gustafsson if he is the 7th defenseman and he plays 35 games this year, filling in for Andy Green and Zdeno Chara or whoever's injured. You don't hurt his career trajectory. Eric Gustafsson, we know what he is. We know what he can do. And he is what he is. He's not developing into something more. Whereas you take a younger defenseman out there and make him play 25, 30 games a year, you're hurting his career development. You're not allowing a Robin Salo to get enough ice time to work on his game. So, again, my hunch, Gustafsson will be getting a lot of action. Now, Colin Adams, he scored a goal for Team Blue off a nice feed by Kiefer Bellows. Brock Nelson scored twice for his team, and basically, he got both of their goals, but final score was 5-2 in this one. So a Team Blue win 5-2 over the white team. But the important thing is the Islanders are getting work in for the players who were not playing in the game against Philadelphia. When we come back, we'll talk about some more recognition from the national media, but as always, it comes with a little caveat. We'll have that, our Islanders' birthday today, and a whole lot more still to come right here on this episode of the Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by your friends at Bet Online. We're back and better than ever, and all eyes are on the gridiron. Teams are back to start another football season. As always, Bet Online is your number one spot for all the pro and college football action this year, with a new updated site and interface and even more odds, props, and contests. BetOnline.ag continues to be the number one source for everything football. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 100% welcome bonus. That's double your initial deposit just for signing up. And don't forget to use the promo code NFL100. From football, basketball, boxing, hockey, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. So check out BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. Today's episode is also brought to you by DirecTV Stream. Does this sound familiar? You've got one device that lets you catch the game live, another that lets you stream your favorite shows. You're watching sports highlights on your phone, and you've got your neighbor's best friend's login for the good stuff. Well, I want to tell you about a simple way to get all the entertainment that you love without the hassle, and it's a great way to finally get your TV together. It's called DirecTV Stream, and it brings your live TV and on-demand favorites together like never before, so you can watch your favorite sports, movies, and shows all in one place. That means no more juggling remotes, no need to buy another device ever again, and best of all, there's no annual contract. So get rid of the clutter and the confusion and get your TV together with DirecTV Stream. You can learn more at directtv.com. That's directtv.com. Compatible device required. Content varies by package. So the national media, which really is just starting to come along, give the Islanders a little love, a little respect, and it's long overdue. But they're starting to get there. And this was on ESPN, where their NHL insiders basically out to rank NHL goalie tandems from the league, 1 to 32. And who comes out on top? Who's number one? The New York Islanders. In Varlamov, Ilya Sorokin, with Peter sort of being the third goalie on the list. This team, they rank the Islanders first in the league. And why not? Over the last 3 years, since Barry Trotz took over as coach, no team has given up fewer goals than the Islanders. Varlamov had the best save percentage in the NHL last year, .929, tied for the league lead in shutouts with 7. Wasn't even named a finalist for the Vezina, which I do not understand. Sorokin also 15th in the voting for the Calder Trophy as the NHL's top rookie. But at the same time, this duo ranking number one, according to ESPN. And you think to yourself, wow, great. The Islanders are getting some respect. Yet, even when they're complimenting the Islanders, they're sort of trying to explain it away. And they're basically saying, both of these players would be solid goaltenders on another team. But within this system, they're the NHL's best tandem. They described Varlamov as an athletic veteran. And they said that Sorokin, and this is true, looked better and better as his rookie season went on. And with a season in the NHL under his belt, he's going to have an outstanding sophomore campaign. Look, I feel like it's sort of a little bit of a backhanded compliment, the way they wrote it up. But the bottom line is that putting the Islanders goaltenders first in the league is a sign of respect. And as an Islander, someone who's covering the Islanders and rooting for the Islanders, I can't deny that playing in the Barry Trotz system definitely helps Semyon Varlamov and Ilya Sorokin play better goal. But the system also relies heavily on the goaltenders to come up with big plays. And that's something that Sorokin and Varlamov do consistently well. And yeah, you could sit there and say, yeah, the system makes the goaltenders. But you know what? The goaltenders also make the system, because the system doesn't work if your goalies are inconsistent. And, you know, you've heard the cliche in hockey, it's not just how many saves you make, it's sometimes when you make big saves. And both Varlamov and Sorokin have been excellent throughout their tenure with the Islanders at making big saves on those occasions when the defense does break down and a big breakaway or odd man rush or some kind of a quality scoring opportunity occurs off a turnover. In those difficult situations, you see Varlamov and Sorokin come up big and get the job done for the team. And that really helps this club do well. And, you know, you can make the argument that, yeah, you know, Robin Lehner did well in this system. Thomas Greiss did well in this system. So maybe it's not Varlamov and Sorokin as much as it is the system. And, you know, Pelech and Pulak and Scotty Mayfield and a solid group of checking forwards and blah, blah, blah. You know what? At the end of the day, it works. This system works. The Islanders, as I mentioned, have given up the fewest goals in the league over the last 3 seasons since Barry Trotz took over as their coach. The Islanders have reached the conference final the last 2 years in the playoffs playing this system because it works. And it doesn't work without good goaltending, and it doesn't work without the system. So, you know, the way they wrote this up was a little bit of a backhanded compliment, but you got to be happy as an Islander fan to see a little recognition for the New York Islanders basically saying, hey, you know what? This team, their goaltending is the best in the league. Whether or not it's purely because they have the 2 best goaltenders in the league doesn't matter. This team has the best goaltending in the league according to ESPN. According to the people who cover the NHL from around North America, from, you know, cover teams in Calgary and Vancouver and Dallas and San Jose and Seattle and St. Louis and Detroit and Tampa, all of these people who, you know, worked on this piece and voted on this, they put the Islanders goaltending duo as the best in the league. And you know what? That, regardless of how they tried to explain it away, that is respect. It's overdue. This team deserves it. And I am happy to see that the Islanders are getting a little RESPECT from the national media, because it's been a long time coming. I mean, between this and 12 games on national television, are we sure we're talking about the New York Islanders here? It's great to see. When we come back, we will have our Islanders birthday of the day and a whole lot more. So stay with us. More to come. Locked On Islanders podcast. This episode is brought to you by Auto. With the increasing numbers of makes and models, it is now impossible for your local chain auto parts store to stock all the parts you need. So why endure often pointless and seemingly intimidating questioning and wait while the person behind the counter orders the parts on their computer, choosing only the brand their warehouse happens to carry? You have computers with access to rockauto.com at home and in your pocket. So why choose to spend 30, 50, even 100% more from the same parts for the same parts from a chain store or car dealership? You can go to Rock Auto, it's a family business. They've been serving do-it-yourselfers online for 20 years, and their prices are reliably low for every customer. They got everything you need, from brake parts, tail lamps, motor oil, even a new carpet. And you can check out their easy-to-use website to find the solution to all your auto parts needs. Go to rockauto.com right now. See all the parts available for your car or truck, right? Locked On in their How Did You Hear About Us box, so they know we sent you. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. rockauto.com. Time now for our Islanders birthday of the day. We're very happy 30th birthday Thursday to former Island McDonald. McDonald originally drafted in the second round by the Oilers. 2000 for Providence in hockey. Even, you know what? Native of Whalers in 2009, 2000 Pittsburgh, but emerged as a regular NHL player with the Islanders, split 2012, 2013 between the Isles and the Sound Tigers, spent all of 2013, 2014 with the Islanders, again, splitting time the following year between the Isles and Bridgeport, went on briefly to play for the Flyers, and his professional career ended after the 2019-2020 season when he was back with Bridgeport, played 60 games that year before COVID ended that season, and had 5 goals and 20 points. Overall, Colin McDonald, 148 career NHL games, 20 goals, 46 points, played in 11 postseason games, 8 of them with the Islanders, 2 goals, 1 assist, all of those points coming with the Islanders back in 2013. We're going to look at one of McDonald's better games with the Isles. We take back to March 25th and 14 at the PNC of the Carolina Hurricanes. Islanders, Anders Nielsen in goal, Cam Ward getting a start for the Carolina Hurricanes, and it was the Islanders on the board quickly. 3 minutes, 39 seconds into the game. Our Islanders' birthday of the day, Colin McDonald, his 7th. Thomas Hickey and Ryan Strome with the assists. Islanders lead 1-0. Less than 2 minutes later, Cal Clutterbuck doubles the Islanders' lead, his 11th. Josh Bailey and Travis Hamonic with the assists. And then a mere 46 seconds later, Colin McDonald, his 2nd of the game, 8th of the year. Calvin DeHaan and Travis Hamonic with the assists. 6 minutes and 12 seconds into the game, it's 3-0 Isles, and they weren't done yet in that first period. Matt Martin, his 6th from Kevin Churchman and Thomas Hickey at 10:54. Midway through the first, Islanders 4 and the Hurricanes nothing. But Johan Sundstrom called for delay of game. He shot the puck up over the boards. Jeff Skinner makes the Islanders pay. He gets his 27th on the power play to make it a 4-1 game at 12:38. Then Andrei Loktianov, his 6th from Yuri Talusti and Brett Belsmore at 15:06, and Carolina's back in the game. It's a 4-2 hockey game. In the second period, the Islanders again called for delay of game as Kevin Churchman shot the puck over the boards. Power play goal, this time by Alexander Seaman, his 22nd from Jordan Stahl and John Michael Lyles at 2:42, and the Islanders' lead is down to 4-3. But Matt Martin comes through, his 7th of the year. Strome and Colin McDonald, Islanders' birthday of the day with the helpers at 16:57. That gives the Islanders suddenly a 5-3 lead, but a mere 22 seconds later, make it 24 seconds, Nathan Gerby scores for Carolina, his 16th. Jordan Stahl and Ron Hainsey with the helpers. 5-4 after 2, and the Islanders were able to hold on and win the game 5-4. Anders Nielsen, 24 saves to earn the win, but for Colin McDonald, 2 goals, 1 assist. He was a +4 in this game, and he led the Islanders with 5 shots on goal, had 2 goals, plus assisted on the game winner, which was scored by Matt Martin. And Matty Martz had 2 goals in this game as well. So Islanders win this 5-4, thanks in large part to the strong performance by Colin McDonald. He is our Islanders' birthday of May. We have got a lot coming up on tomorrow's show. We'll preview today's preseason game in Bridgeport. So we'll talk about that and let you know what you should look for. We'll have the latest updates from training camp and a whole lot more. So make sure you join us. Remember, we are also on YouTube now. And also, we are back to a full 5 days a week schedule. So we will have all the latest news from Islanders training camp, and our shows drop around 12:30 a.m. So night owls can listen before bed. And if you subscribe wherever you get podcasts, it'll be waiting in your inbox for early risers when you wake up first thing in the morning. And we want to thank you for making Locked On Islanders your first listen of the day. Betting on the Islanders doesn't have to be a guessing game if you listen to the new Locked On Bets podcast. It's hosted by your boy Q and handicapping expert Lee Sterling. Get daily picks, blowout specials, wrong team favorite picks, and Lee Sterling's lock of the day. Follow the Locked On Bets podcast, brought to you by betonline.ag, wherever you get podcasts. That's going to do it for us today. Have a great day, everybody. Stay safe, be well, and of course, let's go Islanders.